I am sitting in my office right now, staring out the window into the quiet night. It is past midnight, and the building is empty except for me. 5 years ago, I had $200 in my bank account, and a dream that felt impossible. Today, my business pulls in 7 figures annually. I have 3 store locations, over 50 employees, and more success than I ever imagined. But tonight, I just blocked my mother's phone number, and I have never felt more alone. You would think success would bring family closer, right? That is what I thought too. Until my younger brother showed up at my door one evening asking for $50,000. Before I tell you how it all fell apart, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching this from? Drop your location in the comments below, and if you have ever dealt with family asking for money, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you will want to hear what happened next. Let me take you back to the beginning so you understand how I got here. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood just outside Cincinnati, Ohio. My father worked long shifts at a manufacturing plant, coming home with grease under his fingernails and exhaustion in his eyes. My mother worked as a cashier at the local grocery store, standing on her feet for 8 hours a day, scanning items and forcing smiles at customers who barely acknowledged her. We were not poor, but we were not comfortable either. Money was always tight. There was always something we could not afford. I am the oldest of 3 kids. My brother Marcus is 3 years younger than me, and my sister Destiny is 5 years younger. From the time I could remember, I was told the same thing over and over. You are the oldest. You have to take care of them. When Mom and Dad worked late, I was the one who made sure Marcus and Destiny did their homework. I was the one who made dinner, usually just boxed macaroni or sandwiches. I was the one who walked them to school when the weather was bad. I did not mind it at first. That was just what big brothers did, right? But as I got older, I started to notice something. Marcus and Destiny did not have the same responsibilities I did. They got to be kids. I did not. At 16, I started working 3 part-time jobs. I worked mornings at a coffee shop, afternoons stocking shelves at a hardware store, and weekends doing lawn care for neighbors. I gave most of my paycheck to my parents to help with bills. They never asked me to, but I saw the stress on their faces. I wanted to help. College was never an option for me. We could not afford it, and I did not qualify for enough financial aid. So while my friends were heading off to universities, I enrolled in a technical program to learn electronics repair. I figured if I could fix things, I could always make money. And I was right. By the time I turned 23, I had started my own small business. I repaired phones, laptops, tablets, anything with a circuit board. I worked out of our garage at first, just me and a folding table covered in tiny screwdrivers and soldering equipment. I charged reasonable prices and word spread quickly. In the first month, I made $300. It was not much, but it was mine. For the next 2 years, I lived like a monk. I saved every single dollar I could. I ate instant ramen 4 nights a week. I wore the same 3 shirts until they had holes in them. I did not go out. I did not date. I did not do anything except work. I wanted to open a real shop, a place with a storefront and a sign with my name on it. And eventually I did. My first shop was tiny, barely 600 square feet, tucked between a laundromat and a tax office, but it was mine. I worked 16-hour days, 7 days a week. There were nights I slept on the old couch in the back room because I was too tired to drive home. There were weeks where I did not see sunlight because I was always inside, bent over a workbench, trying to fix one more device before closing time. Slowly, painfully, the business grew. Customers started leaving good reviews online. Other businesses began sending their employees to me when their equipment broke. I hired my first employee, then my second. After 3 years, I opened a second location, then a third. I expanded from consumer electronics into industrial equipment repair, which is where the real money was. By the time I turned 30, my company was bringing in over $1.2 million a year in revenue. I was not rich, not by any means, but I was stable. I had a nice apartment, a reliable car, and savings in the bank. I felt proud. I felt like I had made it. During all those years, my family did not pay much attention to what I was doing. When I told them about opening my first shop, my father just nodded and said, "That is nice." My mother asked if I was sure I did not want to get a real job with benefits. Marcus laughed and said, "You are just going to fix phones forever." Destiny barely looked up from her phone. They thought what I was doing was small. They did not understand that I was building something. But then everything changed. It was a Friday night around 9 in the evening. I had just gotten home from work and was heating up leftover pizza when I heard a knock on my door. I opened it to find Marcus standing there. He looked terrible. His hair was messy, his eyes were red and puffy, and he was wearing an old hoodie that had seen better days. "Can I come in?" he asked quietly. "Of course," I said, stepping aside. "What is going on? Are you okay?" He walked in slowly, like his legs were barely holding him up. I grabbed 2 beers from the fridge and sat down across from him on the couch. He took a long sip, then stared at the bottle for what felt like forever. "I messed up," he finally said. "I messed up bad." "What happened?" I asked, leaning forward. Marcus took a shaky breath. "You know how I have been talking about opening a bar with some friends?" "Yeah," I said. I vaguely remembered him mentioning it a few months earlier, but I had not paid much attention. Marcus was always talking about big plans that never went anywhere. "Well, we did it," he continued. "We signed a lease, renovated the place, bought all the equipment. We were supposed to open last month." "Okay," I said slowly. "So what is the problem?" "It failed," he said, his voice cracking. "We did not do the math right. We ran out of money halfway through construction. We took out loans to finish, but by the time we opened, we were already so deep in debt that we could not make it work. The place was empty most nights. We could not compete with the other bars in the area. We lasted 6 weeks before we had to shut down." I felt a knot forming in my stomach. "How much do you owe?" Marcus looked at me and I saw tears starting to form in his eyes. $50,000. I sat back, exhaling slowly. $50,000. That was not a small amount of money. That was a new car. That was a down payment on a house. That was a year of operating expenses for one of my shops. "The creditors are threatening to take me to court," Marcus said, his voice shaking now. "I do not know what to do. I cannot pay it back. I do not have anything. I am still working at the warehouse making $15 an hour. It would take me years to pay this off, and they want it now." He looked at me with desperate eyes. "You are my brother. You have money now. Everyone knows your business is doing well. Can you help me?" I felt my chest tighten. Of course I wanted to help him. He was my brother. But $50,000 was a huge amount of money to just give away, especially when I had no guarantee I would ever see it again. "Did you have a business plan?" I asked carefully. "Did you research the market? Did you calculate your overhead costs?" Marcus's face hardened. "I did not come here for a lecture, Prince. I came for help. I am not lecturing you," I said. "I am just trying to understand what happened. If I help you, I need to know that you learned from this." "Of course I learned from it," he snapped. "I learned that I am a failure." "Is that what you wanted to hear?" "That is not what I meant," I said. "Look, 50,000 is a lot of money. If I lend it to you, can you pay me back?" Marcus went silent. He stared at the floor, not answering. "Marcus," I said again. "Can you pay me back? I do not know," he finally muttered. "Maybe. Eventually." I rubbed my face with both hands. "I need some time to think about this." Marcus stood up abruptly, his face flushed with anger. "Time to think about it. Seriously, I thought you would understand. I thought you would just help me. I guess money changed you." "That is not fair," I started to say, but he was already walking toward the door. "Forget it," he said, not looking back. I should have known better than to ask. The door slammed behind him, and I sat there alone in my apartment, feeling like the worst person in the world. But underneath the guilt, there was something else. Frustration. Annoyance. A nagging voice in my head that said, "Why is this your responsibility?" 2 days later, my phone rang. It was my mother. I almost did not answer, but I knew that would only make things worse. "Hello, Mom," I said. "Marcus told me you refused to help him." Her voice was cold, sharper than I had ever heard it. "That is not exactly what happened," I started to explain. "He is your brother," she cut me off. "Family helps family. That is how it works." "Mom, it is not that simple," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. $50,000 is a lot of money. I need to think about it, make sure it is the right decision. "The right decision?" she repeated, her tone dripping with disbelief. Your brother is drowning and you are worried about making the right decision. You have 3 stores, Prince. You are making good money. Why are you being so selfish? The word hit me like a slap. Selfish. My own mother called me selfish. I am not being selfish, I said, my voice rising. I worked my entire life to build what I have. I did not get any help. I did it on my own, and now everyone expects me to just hand out money whenever someone asks. You owe your family, she said firmly. We raised you. We put a roof over your head. We fed you. And now that you have some success, you turn your back on us. I am not turning my back on anyone, I said. But she had already moved on. Your father wants to talk to you. There was a shuffling sound, then my father's voice came through. Prince, your mother is very upset. Just give Marcus the money. It is not worth all this drama. Dad, this is not about drama. I tried to explain. This is about Marcus making a bad decision and expecting me to fix it. He made a mistake, my father said impatiently. We all make mistakes. He is your brother. Help him out. But what if he does it again, I asked. What if he makes another bad investment and loses more money? Am I supposed to bail him out every time? I do not want to hear excuses, my father said, his voice hardening. Figure it out. And then he hung up. I sat there staring at my phone in disbelief. My own parents were making me feel like a villain for not immediately handing over $50,000. It did not matter that I had worked 80-hour weeks for years. It did not matter that I had sacrificed everything to build my business. All that mattered was that I had money and they wanted it. Later that evening I got a text from Destiny. Why are you being so mean to Marcus? Mean I was being mean by not giving away $50,000. I tried calling her to explain, but she did not answer. Instead, she sent another text. Mom told me what you said. I cannot believe you would treat him like this. I felt completely isolated. My entire family had turned against me, and I had not even done anything wrong yet. I had just asked for time to think. For the next week, I could not sleep. Every night I lay awake going over the conversation with Marcus in my head. Part of me wanted to help him because he was my brother. But another part of me, the part that had worked 3 jobs at 16 and slept on a couch in a repair shop, felt angry. Why did I have to be the one to fix everyone else's problems? Finally, I made a decision. I would help him, but not the way he wanted. I called Marcus and asked him to meet me at a coffee shop near my office. He showed up looking sullen, arms crossed, like he was doing me a favor by being there. I will lend you the money, I said, before he could say anything. His face lit up. Really, thank you, man. I knew you would come through. But there are conditions, I continued. His smile faded. Conditions. I pulled out a piece of paper I had printed that morning. This is a loan agreement. You will pay me back over 3 years with a 5% interest rate. It is lower than any bank would give you. If you agree to these terms, I will transfer the money to you tomorrow. Marcus stared at the paper like it was a snake. Interest. Are you serious? I am your brother, not your client. This is business, I said firmly. If you want my help, these are the terms. You made a business mistake and I am offering you a business solution. This is unbelievable, he muttered, shaking his head. You really have changed. I have not changed, I said. I am just protecting myself. If you do not want to sign it, that is fine. But I am not just handing you $50,000 with no accountability. Marcus sat there for a long moment, jaw clenched. Finally, he grabbed the pen and signed the paper without looking at me. Happy now? I am trying to help you, I said. Sure you are, he said bitterly. He stood up and walked out without another word. I transferred the money the next day. Marcus sent a 1-word text. Got it. No thank you. No acknowledgement of what I had just done for him. Just 2 words. I told myself it was fine. At least I had helped him, and I had protected myself by getting a contract. Everything would be okay. But I was wrong. 3 months passed. Marcus never contacted me. Not once. No updates on how he was doing, no mention of starting to pay me back, nothing. It was like the moment he got the money I stopped existing to him. Then one Sunday afternoon my phone rang. It was Destiny. Can we talk? She asked. Sure, I said. What is up? I want to open a hair salon, she said excitedly. I have been doing hair for my friends for years, and everyone says I am really good. I think I could make a real business out of it." "That sounds great," I said cautiously. "I need $20,000 to get started," she said. "You know, for equipment renting, a space marketing, all that." And there it was. "Do you have a business plan?" I asked. "Why do you always ask so many questions?" she said, her tone immediately defensive. "Just say yes or no." "Because I want to make sure you have thought this through," I said. "Starting a business is not easy. Trust me, I know." "You helped Marcus," she said. "Why would you not help me, Marcus? And I signed a contract," I explained. "He is paying me back." "So you want me to sign a contract too?" she asked, sounding hurt. "What kind of brother are you?" "I am the kind of brother who wants to see you succeed," I said. "But I cannot just give you money without knowing you have a real plan." "Forget it," she said, and the call ended. 10 minutes later my mother called. "Your sister is crying," she said angrily. "Why did you say no to her?" "I did not say no," I tried to explain. "I just asked her to show me a business plan." "You helped Marcus, but not her," my mother said. "That is not fair." "Mom, I am trying to be responsible," I said, feeling my patience wearing thin. "You are tearing this family apart," she said, and hung up. Then my father called. "What is your problem?" he demanded. "First Marcus, now Destiny. You think you are better than everyone because you have some money." "That is not what I think," I said, my voice shaking now. "I am just trying to make smart decisions." "Smart decisions," he repeated mockingly. "You know what a smart decision would be. Taking care of your family." Over the next few weeks the requests kept coming. My mother asked me to pay for repairs on their roof. $12,000. My father said their car broke down and they needed a new one. $25,000. Every time I hesitated, every time I asked why they could not handle it themselves, I was called selfish, ungrateful, cold. I felt like I was drowning. No matter how much I gave, it was never enough. And every time I set a boundary, I was made to feel like a terrible person. Finally, my mother called and said she wanted to have a family dinner. "We need to talk," she said. "All of us together." I agreed, hoping that maybe we could finally have an honest conversation. Maybe they would understand my perspective. I showed up at my parents' house that Saturday evening. The smell of roast chicken filled the air, and for a moment I felt a flicker of nostalgia. This was the house I grew up in. These were the people I loved. But the moment I sat down at the table, I knew this was not going to be a pleasant dinner. Marcus did not even look at me. Destiny kept her arms crossed. My parents sat at opposite ends of the table, their faces stern. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Marcus spoke. "I need another $30,000, he said flatly. I almost choked on my water. "What I want to try again," he said. "I learned from my mistakes. This time will be different. I have a new business idea. But I need capital." "Absolutely not," I said immediately. "See," Destiny said, pointing at me. "He does not care about us." "That is not true," I said, my voice rising. "I already gave Marcus $50,000. I have helped Mom and Dad with repairs. I am not an ATM. "You owe us," my father said, his voice booming across the table. "We raised you. We sacrificed everything for you. Now it is your turn to take care of us." "Sacrificed everything," I repeated, feeling anger bubbling up inside me. "I have been taking care of myself since I was 16 years old. I paid for my own education. I built my business from nothing. You did not help me." "We gave you a home," my mother said, tears forming in her eyes. "We fed you. We loved you. And I am grateful for that," I said. "But that does not mean I owe you my entire life. That does not mean I have to fund everyone's failed dreams." "Failed dreams," Marcus stood up, his face red. "You act like you did it all on your own. We were always there for you." When I shouted, standing up too. "When were you there when I was eating instant noodles for a month straight because I could not afford groceries? When were you there when I was sleeping in my shop because I could not afford rent? You were not there. None of you were." The room went completely silent. My mother was crying now. My father looked at me with something close to hatred. Destiny would not meet my eyes. "How dare you talk to us like that?" my mother said through her tears. "You are ungrateful. You are selfish. You are not the son I raised." I felt something break inside me. I looked around the table at these people. My family and I realized something. They did not love me. They loved what I could give them. I am done, I said quietly. Done with what my father demanded. With this, I said, gesturing around the table, with all of you treating me like a wallet, I am done. And I walked out. I did not look back. I drove home in a daze, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. When I got to my apartment, I sat in my car in the parking lot for an hour, just staring into space. Everything I had been feeling for months finally crystallized into one clear thought. I had to cut them off, completely. It was not about the money anymore. It was about respect. It was about boundaries. It was about protecting myself from people who would drain me dry and still call me selfish. That night, I stayed up until 3 in the morning writing an email. I rewrote it a dozen times, trying to get the words right. Finally, I hit send. The email was simple. I will no longer be providing financial support to any of you. This is not about being cruel or petty. This is about protecting my own mental health and my own future. I love you all, but I cannot let you treat me like this anymore. I need space. Do not contact me unless you are ready to respect my boundaries. Then I did something I never thought I would do. I blocked all of their phone numbers. I removed them from social media. I changed my address and did not tell them where I moved. The first week was the hardest. I kept expecting to feel guilty, to regret my decision. But instead I felt something else. Relief. For the first time in months I could breathe. I did not have to worry about the next phone call, the next demand, the next guilt trip. I was free. Of course they did not take it well. I got dozens of emails. Marcus wrote, "You are dead to me. I hope you are happy with your money because you have no family now." Destiny wrote, "I never knew you could be so heartless. I guess I never really knew you at all." My mother wrote, "You will regret this when we are gone. Family is all that matters and you threw us away." My father did not write anything. That hurt the most. But I did not respond to any of them. I stayed firm. Over the next few months, something incredible happened. I started to heal. I went to therapy and worked through years of guilt and obligation that had been drilled into me since childhood. I learned about toxic family dynamics, about boundaries, about the difference between helping and enabling. My business thrived. Without the constant stress of family drama, I could focus. I opened 2 more locations. I hired a management team so I did not have to work 80-hour weeks anymore. I started taking care of myself. I joined a gym. I ate better. I slept better. I made new friends, real friends, who cared about me as a person, not as a source of money. I started dating a woman named Jordan. She was kind, smart, and supportive. When I told her about what happened with my family, she did not judge me. She just held my hand and said, "You did what you had to do." For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. I felt like I was living my life for me, not for everyone else's expectations. But then, 2 years after I cut them off, something happened that I did not expect. I got a letter in the mail. Not an email, an actual physical letter. It was from a law office. My hands shook as I opened it. It was a summons. Marcus was suing me. According to the lawsuit, Marcus claimed that the $50,000 I gave him was a gift, not a loan. He said I had no right to expect repayment, and he was suing me for harassment and emotional distress. I could not believe what I was reading. I had a signed contract. He had agreed to the terms. And now he was trying to take me to court. I immediately called my lawyer. We scheduled a meeting, and I brought the contract I had kept in my files. My lawyer looked it over and smiled. "This is airtight," he said. "He does not have a case. Do not worry." The court date was set for 3 months later. Those 3 months were some of the most stressful of my life. Not because I was worried about losing the contract was clear, but because I could not believe my own brother would do this to me. When the day finally came, I walked into the courtroom and saw Marcus sitting on the other side with his lawyer. He would not look at me. The hearing lasted less than 30 minutes. My lawyer presented the signed contract. Marcus's lawyer tried to argue that I had coerced Marcus into signing it, but there was no evidence of that. The judge reviewed the documents, asked a few questions, and then made his ruling. The contract is valid. The plaintiff's claims are dismissed. Furthermore, the plaintiff is ordered to pay the defendant's legal fees. I walked out of that courtroom feeling vindicated but also deeply sad. Marcus stood outside, looking defeated. For a moment our eyes met. I thought maybe he would say something, maybe apologize, maybe acknowledge what he had done. Instead, he just looked at me with cold eyes and walked away. That was the last time I ever saw him. 4 years have passed since that day in court. I am 32 years old now. My business has 8 locations across 3 cities. We employ over 50 people. Last year our revenue hit $3 million. By any measure, I have succeeded beyond my wildest dreams. But more importantly, I am happy. Truly happy. Jordan and I are still together. We are talking about getting engaged. I have a solid group of friends who genuinely care about me. I volunteer at a local community center, teaching young people how to start their own businesses. I give to charity, but only to organizations I have vetted and trust. I have not spoken to my family in 4 years. Not once. And I do not regret it. People ask me all the time if I miss them. The honest answer is no. I do not miss the guilt trips. I do not miss the constant demands. I do not miss feeling like I was never good enough, like I could never give enough. What I miss is the idea of what a family should be. I miss the fantasy I had in my head of parents who were proud of me, of siblings who supported me. But that fantasy was never real, and I had to let it go to find peace. I learned something important through all of this. Family does not mean you have to sacrifice your own well-being. Blood does not entitle anyone to drain you financially, emotionally, or mentally. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary. It is survival. There is a difference between helping someone and enabling them. Helping is giving someone the tools to stand on their own. Enabling is allowing them to keep making the same destructive choices because you will always be there to catch them. I was enabling my family, and by cutting them off, I gave myself the space to grow, to heal, to become the person I was meant to be. They called me selfish, but I call it self-preservation. If your family only contacts you when they need money, they do not love you. They love what you can give them, and that is not love at all. People often ask me if I made the right choice. They ask if I should have tried harder, been more patient, given them more chances, and my answer is always the same. I gave them years of chances. I gave them my time, my energy, my money, and my mental health, and it was never enough. Nothing I did would ever be enough, so I made a choice. I chose myself. I do not miss the guilt trips. I do not miss the demands. I do not miss feeling like I was never enough. What I miss is the idea of what a family should be. But I had to let go of that fantasy to find my own peace. I built a business from nothing. But the hardest thing I ever built was the courage to walk away from people who did not deserve me. And you know what? I have never been happier. Sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you are born into, and that is okay. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had to cut someone out of your life to protect your peace? Have you ever been called selfish for setting boundaries? Drop a comment below and share your story. I read every single one, and I want you to know you are not alone. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more real-life stories about overcoming difficult situations. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. You never know who might be struggling with the same thing. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it was not easy to hear, but I hope it helped you in some way. Remember, choosing yourself is not selfish. It is survival. Take care of yourselves out there. You deserve peace, respect, and love. Do not settle for anything less.